Meeting is now being recorded.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Christopher Schubert. I'm the Vice President of Business Development over here at CNSG, and I wanted to welcome you to the first in our cloud education series with our friends at Dell Technologies. Joining me here today, I have Steve Thrall and Michael Pinginini of Dell. And I want to kind of start off with telling you a little bit about the new partnership that CNSG has with Dell Technologies and what it's going to mean for you as partners. And then from there, Steve is going to walk us through an educational series on hyperconvergence. So first, a little bit about the partnership. CNSG has long been an advocate for cloud services in the channel today, and we've seen a lot of great success over the last few years. But as we have found as even more important in our current environment, knowledge of the cloud, knowledge of advanced solutions is no longer something for every other partner or just a few select folks. It's something that we all need to understand, because what is happening in the cloud today absolutely impacts every other solution we sell, from software as a service to UCaaS to even good old connectivity. It all comes back to the cloud. And there is no greater leader in the cloud space today than Dell Technologies. Obviously, a proven name that you've known for years. You've also known EMC, which is, of course, became part of Dell in the last several years. They are at the forefront of the digital transformation revolution. And we are very proud to have them as part of our supplier portfolio and as a key provider of cloud services through our other cloud-centered focused suppliers. So we're going to learn a lot about that today. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to Steve Thrall from Dell Technologies, who's going to walk us through today's presentation. Steve, it's all yours.
Chris, thank you so much. And echoing the excitement around the partnership that we have with you and all of your extended partners that are out there. So first off, a little bit about myself. I'm based out of Rhode Island, and I hope everyone is staying safe during these crazy times. I am definitely in the house with the family, the kids running around. I'm sure we're all managing a variety of different things. So thank you for taking time out of your day to come on and talk with us or listen to the material. Chris and Mike did a great job prepping me in how to optimize my message. So hopefully over the course of the next 10-15 minutes of content, this message resonates well with you. And what I'm really trying to get accomplished is a general understanding of hyperconverged infrastructure. We work in this industry where there's so many darn buzzwords that it's important for all of us just to take a minute and restate what these are. And then I want to continue it on to why this hyperconverged infrastructure is being so widely adopted, and therefore why it's powering the IT of these private clouds. And these private clouds are being delivered by partners and service providers all across the world, and we're having a great success with it. So throughout this material, I'll take a couple pauses. I know the questions are going to be online only, but if we have questions, I'll try to answer them as Chris feeds them into me. So first question, and it's not even on this slide, but what is hyperconverged infrastructure? So hyperconverged infrastructure is simply just a software-defined IT infrastructure. It's virtualizing the compute, storage, and network all into one platform. And in this industry, we all know that HCI vastly improves your efficiency and lower costs. But there's a lot of different technologies that can claim that. What's really driving the adoption of HCI is its agility, scalability, and really, I think the last one, simplicity. So if you're able to take a infrastructure stack, virtualize the whole thing, and deliver it in a simple form factor, the simplicity is really what's driving a lot of this adoption. Dell Technologies has a HCI platform called VXRail. And VXRail is specifically designed to be built for VMware, built with VMware, and built to improve VMware. And its use cases are across the edge, core, and cloud, with varying different capabilities being added on depending upon what the use case is. A couple quick statistics about VXRail. First off, there's over 7,000 VXRail customers today. That's in a 2-year acceleration period. Just this past year, we grew the business 132%. The annual revenue run rate is over $2 billion. So when I talked about what's driving the growth rate, these platforms are so easy and simple and scalable that we're really seeing this massive wide adoption across all different use cases that are out there. And with the design principles in mind, it's really focusing in on a single turnkey experience. And what does turnkey experience mean? That means that you've got the operational and the serviceability to go out there and know that, hey, at any given moment, my VXRail is in a single serviceable state and it's being automated lifecycle management at the same time. This is highly differentiated in the marketplace. No one else, due to the joint engineering we've done with VMware, can come close to this differentiated value prop that we have. What this translates into, which are customers' outcomes, we're able to stand up services 56% faster. We're able to drive significant ROI due to operational savings and operational costs. And because we're able to have so many different use cases, the VXRail is truly 4x more cost effective than the public cloud. I added this slide in there because I get this question a lot. Well, what is it? So the folks that are familiar with some of the VMware titles, it is the virtualized environment combined with the VXRail software manager with the opportunity to protect data through data migrations, data mobility, as well as data protection. So it's really a combination of a variety of technologies, all built under one platform, maintained in a single serviceable state. So we started off talking about HCI. What is it? Hopefully the last 5 minutes gave you a good purview into some of the questions that you might have had around HCI. I proposed the position of Dell EMC and Dell Technologies around VXRail. But why is VXRail and HCI powering the cloud? And why will it power the private clouds that our partners are building? First, let me just walk you through quickly the Dell Technologies Cloud Experience. Our Dell Technologies Cloud Experience is built on delivering consistent services, operations, infrastructure across all the clouds in a multi-cloud experience, whether it's on the edge, private, or public. We want to drive that consistency. And why are we so focused on the cloud? I purposely made this slide extremely busy, and I'm just going to leave it up here. There's a couple points that I'd like to make here. Of course, the data center is becoming more and more virtual. Multi-cloud, not any cloud provider can provide all of the different necessities for a single customer. So customers are choosing multiple different cloud providers, and their operation models are changing as well. One of the more interesting stats that I found on here is private cloud and off-prem is extremely real. And hosted private cloud is accelerating 6x than on on-premise clouds. So the service provider partners that are out there have a tremendous opportunity to drive this private cloud marketplace. So I hope this gives you some statistics and industry insight onto why HCI is so focused on powering the cloud, because the cloud is where our customers are going. And this is a voice of the field from over 6,000 Dell sales reps. Notice that our customers aren't demanding to go to the cloud. The customers are demanding business outcomes. And how do we deliver business outcomes? Look at some of the key business outcomes and solutions that customers are asking for. 5G, data-driven workloads, multi-clouds, financial models, high-value stack solutions. As a manufacturer of awesome technologies, Dell looks to power each of these. But the only way that we can truly deliver customers outcomes and some of these workload specific things is with our partners. Our Dell Tech Cloud experience is squarely dependent upon partners. So Pitch, why don't I pass it off to you and you talk through just a few highlights about these 4 partners that we chose to bring forward today.
Sure thing. Thank you, Steve. That was great. Thought the content was really pertinent to, of course, the HCI overview, but also, the real direction that Dell Technologies and the focus Dell Technologies is putting towards hyperconverged and HCI overall in the marketplace. And it is a good segue to highlight, the importance of HCI, but really what's driving it and what customers, our end users, are really looking for. And I think the bring it back to center as far as what the role we see as CNSG playing, as well as the partners here on the screen. Really to reiterate, right? I think the overall opportunity within this market is massive, and that's just from a product perspective, right? I think if we take remove the double click into the technology for a moment and just look at the landscape, there's a lot of forces out there, right? We have a massive market opportunity, mainly because customers, end users, are looking to do and run IT differently. And everything that we are talking to them about is the outcome, right? They want to have technology at their fingertips. I think what we're all going through today is evident, right? We need to be readily available. We need resources available to run our laptops. We need to be able to communicate and collaborate as if we were face-to-face when we're not. And when it really comes down to it, as an end user, there's a lot of confusing messages out there, right? I mean, you don't just buy HCI and magically get efficiency, right? And that's where I see what Dell Tech teams do, Steve, with these partners on the screen, delivering customer outcome in a monthly fashion, right? And giving them a lower cost to serve, a most efficient use case, really providing that expertise and the guidance of how do I get from a legacy use case and modernize it to a current day application platform, right? Or an immediate delivery model. So, going from, left down and then over, we've worked as a group specifically with these partners in different ways, but really to help provide some of the best of breed Dell technologies to power what we think are some of the best of breed managed enterprise cloud services. If you look at some of the examples that you could check out what TierPoint's delivering, right? TierPoint's leveraging the exact technology, VXRail, that Steve mentioned in his presentation, as a hosted private cloud service. So what a great way to get SLA capabilities and on-demand delivery, knowing that you're running a trusted cloud service from a company like a TierPoint on what we believe is Dell Technologies' best of breed solutions. Going over to to what Rackspace has from a Rackspace private cloud. They've been using some of our VMware technologies and Dell technology infrastructure for years to power their Rackspace private cloud, right? And the extended capabilities that they can do between the data centers. over to Expedient, right? Expedient, a highly valued Dell Technologies partner for almost a decade, and their extensive use of our infrastructure platforms, our servers, and our storage capabilities, plus what they're doing with VMware. Their latest iteration, I think it's over 5 years in the making, right? So think about what they're going to be able to offer an end user from an experience perspective, knowing that they've invested all that time and energy for years to really make it a best of breed offering. And then over to Flexential. I think folks that are familiar with what Flexential's up to with their on-demand and their capabilities from a data center and connectivity perspective. We're a little newer in the discussion cycle with them from an end-to-end, I should say, solution offering, but more to come there, and I'm sure we'll be able to get into further in the near future, Chris.
And one other thing I'd like to add for the team here is when you look at is to make sure that folks understand that within Dell, within the Dell technology set, the VXRail platforms, et cetera, those are actually available not directly via Dell, but through these cloud service providers that we have on the screen here. Now, in addition to having a background with Dell, part of the reason CNSG selected these four was due to our success that we've had with them. We have had some exceptionally large sales just this year with this group of providers that is really driving our cloud strategy in 2020. Now, we all know everything is up in the air right now, but one thing that is not going to be changing is the customer's need to have their data accessible from anywhere. And that's where private cloud solutions and public cloud solutions come into play. And that's where our friends at Rackspace, Expedient, Flexential, and TierPoint will be assisting you, our treasured CNSG partners. Now, in terms of selecting those suppliers, obviously you have access to our sales engineering team led by Dave Hopper. So as you find opportunities that fit this HCI infrastructure, we'll assist you with getting engaged with these CSPs so that you too can take advantage of Dell Technologies. Now with that, folks, that actually takes us to the end of our prepared content. As you know, with me, if you've ever followed me before, we always like to have content that is short, punchy, and gets you in and out and on with your life as fast as possible. But we do have a couple of questions that have popped in so far. And if you do have any questions for Steve or Michael, please take a moment to get those listed in the chat window. But Steve, I do want to start with a very important one. Coming to us from John Schwarzy, one of our leading managing partners. He chatted a little bit about the fact that you compared cost of the HCI private cloud to public cloud. Can you go into a little bit more detail on that comparison?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for the question. And in the context of comparing public cloud versus HCI, the cost savings really comes from the ability to deliver the equipment at a lower operational cost. So due to the cloud in a box like features of HCI, where you set it up, you deploy it and deliver it, you're not having to actively manage it as much as you would in a public cloud environment. The cost per gig, cost per network connectivity, as well as cost per CPU, provides the second half of that cost comparison equation. So there's two parts to it. First is operational, and second is component.
Gotcha. Kind of going along with that, obviously, the two primary forces out there in the public cloud world are our friends at AWS and Azure. And many of our cloud service providers offer managed versions of those. And of course, a lot of customers go to them directly with their credit card numbers. How would you compare and contrast the HCI infrastructure that you're chatting about with just using AWS or Azure?
I think, what happens with the credit card conversation is you want to stand up an instance in AWS or Azure. And with that instance, you grow and expand. When I think about the cost comparison of AWS and Azure, and the experience compared to a HCI, I would actually elevate it a little bit and compare what a public cloud experience is versus a managed enterprise cloud. Remember, the VXRail and the HCI platform powers the managed enterprise cloud. It, in many regards, is not extended to that end user. The managed enterprise cloud has a very specific use case that, it addresses a business use case that is broad, but it's different than the public cloud. It's for those applications that have regional requirements. That's probably number one. Applications that don't want to be re-platformed to go to the public cloud, number two. And number three, which is really what we're seeing a resurgence is, they want to be more cost effectively delivered in a environment where the cost of the public clouds are becoming too much. So we're seeing some repatriation to these cloud service providers that you see on the screen here today, where their AWS bill, their Azure bill is not in line with what they anticipated. They swiped their credit card, that ballooned and grew, but they still don't want to manage the infrastructure. That third use case is a great use case for these partners. Bring it back to a managed service provider, build your own managed enterprise cloud with very cost predictable models in place.
Great answer. Appreciate that, Steve. Kind of staying on the realm of competition, we have a question coming from an old friend of mine, Marino Marinati. I haven't chatted with you in forever, sir. Asking a little bit of, is this a parallel product to IBM's cloud services, known, I believe, as SoftLayer? And also to that end, is VXRail available just domestically, or is that something that can be sold international through one of our cloud service providers?
Yeah, two-part question. I'll take the second part because it's more straightforward, and then I'll talk through the comparison of IBM.
Sure.
The VXRail product is available globally. Those 7,000 customers that I referenced were the global number. The partners that deliver the managed enterprise cloud built on VXRail are dependent upon where they do business. So I know, for example, Rackspace does business globally, TierPoint, Expedient, Flexential. Which country and which region is really dependent upon that partner.
And to that end, CNSG will assist our partners with, you bring us the opportunity, we'll select the CSP that's going to be the best fit for you based on those locations.
Global location, yeah. And, I know IBM extremely well. IBM is a close partner of Dell Technologies, and IBM's cloud strategy has really remained the same, even though the acquisition of Red Hat gave them, immense IP. Their cloud strategy really remains the same in that they've got a two-pronged approach in the cloud marketplace. They've got the IBM Cloud, which is the SoftLayer acquisition, and then they have IBM Cloud Paks, which is delivering on-prem solutions in a managed format from IBM. One of the IBM solutions, the IBM Cloud Paks, is built on VXRail. So in a sense, it wouldn't be competitive to VXRail because it's powered by VXRail. It would be competitive against each of these partners that you see up there because they'd probably all be going after that specific use case. Fantastic.
One more question here, and I think I think this is just a very important question for clarity because with a lot of our partners, there's cloud, there's public, there's private, there's hybrid. Now we hear the term multi-cloud a lot, which is basically a new way of saying hybrid. Is VXRail only utilized for private cloud, or can it also be in a hybrid environment?
Yeah, there are so many maybe almost like religious debates on cloud vernacular, right? My position and my terminology is that, you know, cloud isn't necessarily a destination, it's an operating model. And how you operate the VXRail, you can operate it in a cloud-like private experience, or you can have it connected to multiple locations, in which some people look at that as a hybrid cloud. I do as well. So to answer a very specific question, can it be a hybrid cloud? Yes. Can it be a private cloud? Yes. It's all about how it's operationally deployed versus a pure click of a button.
Awesome. And ultimately, that's what we always want to get to, is that pure click of the button. Steve, this has been fantastic. Michael, I greatly appreciate you guys putting together this contact for the CNSG partner community. I'll do one last call for questions in the chat window. Going once, going twice. Oh, we got some thank yous. So, well, you're very, very welcome, sir. Hopefully all of the CNSG partners that are on here today, as well as Dell VARs that might be joining us for the first time, they're curious about utilizing cloud service providers for their Dell services. The purpose of this series is really going to be to educate you on how to utilize the cloud, how to make it part of your discussion and part of that total converged solution that we want to sell to our customer base. So look for our next session, which will be scheduled very shortly. We're going to be talking about how the worlds of UCaaS and SD-WAN actually tie back to this little thing called the cloud. So we look forward to having you in that session here in the coming weeks. Michael, Steve, thank you so very much, and we'll see you in our next episode of Cloud Education Series.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, Steve. Great presentation.
Thank you.